There's been a number of folks that talk about development in and around the mall, but there's an issue with the sewer pump that's down there. If you look at development and you tied it to utilities, electricity, we're absolutely, perfect on. I don't think any municipality is as blessed as we are with North Attleboro Electric and the job that they do for the community. So hats off to them and all that they do. Sewer, we're looking at that right now because that sewer pump tends to be problematic. The current owners of the mall are responsible for that sewer pump. It needs to be upgraded and repaired, so we're interested in that. But we're also looking at potentially as a piece of public property, right? That pump is in private hands right now. What do we need to do to potentially do that without, bringing a rate increase to the sewer rates? So this is something that we're looking at. We're working with the owners. We've asked developers to weigh in on this and tell us how we might approach this. And we've gotten some very good feedback. And so working very closely with Mark Hollowell and the Board of Public Works, we want to make sure that we're out there looking at how we best can develop this area. So growth is always on our minds, right? And I've said this in all of the budget presentations I've made. New growth is really the only avenue that will impact and increase the levy here in town. But I also think we got to be smart about how we grow. There's a 40B project that's currently before the Zoning Board of Appeals right now. They've got their next meeting scheduled for February. I've just looked at the traffic study and I didn't see any major issues with the traffic study. There's some information that's got to be provided and a couple recommendations that the peer review put into place for that. But they'll be in before that. But we've got to figure out how to grow the town in both homes, bedrooms, and businesses and commercial properties. We've got to find that right balance. I think that's going to be the key to development. If you build all, single family homes, you're going to create a lot of pressure on the property taxes of homeowners because that's the only source of funding that we would give. So finding that right mix and that balance, and I think it's probably in that 75-25% ratio, 75% residential, 25% commercial and industrial.
How does that compare to most communities?
It depends on the community. I would tell you Plainville, with the addition of Thermo Fisher, saw a bigger, uptick in it. But if you look at a town like Rehoboth, they are almost all bedrooms, right? And they have very large, almost 2-acre lot sizes and no public utility infrastructure that they are responsible for. So when you're paying taxes in Rehoboth, you're not paying for sewer. You have well water, and that's a PFAS issue for well water. And how do you deal with that as an individual versus a town? At least as a town, we're working hard to mitigate that and remove any and all PFAS from it. But you just create additional pressures on residents and put it all on theirs. But if you have that commercial and industrial side and businesses that are operating in town, you also get the benefit of increases in local receipts, right? For example, all those employees that work at a business here in town are likely to eat lunch or dinner here in town, right? Or go shopping at their stores, or when they have people that are visiting from out of town for a conference that they might be holding, or somebody that's coming in to see their office, they're likely to stay in a hotel here in town. And we benefit from those local receipts. So it just really kind of adds to it. Other municipalities, we're not all the same. But I think where North Attleboro has an opportunity is to find and strike that right balance of growth in residences, because I would tell you that affordable housing is probably our number one issue. With the $70,000 rise in the average home value that we saw in the last year, we're probably going to see that again in the next year. So we're looking for another uptick in the average mean price of a home here in town. I think we can find ways to share that burden with businesses and attract new businesses, to bring them to town, right, and help contribute to that tax base, much like a Thermo Fisher does, and helps Plainville overcome an override issue. A casino didn't answer all the problems and bring all the funding that the community needed. It took another Thermo Fisher. What I'm proposing and what we're leading the effort on is growing the town smart. It's working closely with the planning board, right? Working closely with the town council and developers, and finding the right developers to bring the right mix of business, commercial properties, and residential homes to the town.